All right, today I'm going to show you the process of editing for my team. And this is a training video for my team on editing in DaVinci Resolve. Right here is a step-by-step guide of how I want the videos to be edited. So before you even begin editing, you want to make sure you have these three things. You want to make sure you know what camera the film was filmed on. Most of the stuff that you're going to get from me is probably on my iPhone. This is an iPhone 16, I think. Number two is what gamma was it filmed on or filmed in, and you'll have to ask Google and research that depending on the camera it's on. Most people aren't going to know that. I will, so ask me and I can let you know, and that will make sense when we get into color editing. And then third is, do you have a brand guide? So when working with clients, you want to make sure you have a brand guide pulled up alongside so you know what colors are approved, what backgrounds, if there's any particular backgrounds that they want done, what text, what style, voice, things like anything that is going to help you make sure that when you deliver the product, it's as close as perfect the first time. Okay. After you get those three things with the video content that they've provided you, the first thing is a pass through. Run through it at twice the speed. Watch the video content just so you're aware of what's there, and to capture anything that's off, that's like, oh, this clip or this project right here is not possible because of, like, for example, I recently did a video where my collar was up like that on one side. It's not professional, which means that entire video clip is scrapped. Like, it's not good for anything, or the audio might be terrible. You want to check that for as well, and then get back to them as well, saying, hey, this content's great. These clips are not useful. They cannot be used for anything because they will present you not as professional as you should be, type of thing. So you want to do that before you do any editing, because you want to save time, right? All right, stage two is audio. You want to make sure before you do any cutting and editing, is you want to sync and edit the audio before you do anything else. And this is to make sure that it's all aligned, it's all working, it all makes sense. You don't have to listen through all of the audio, but you definitely need to make sure that it's synced and the audio levels are correct. So raising the volume levels up to 5 to 10, that's the ideal scenario, and I'll show you what that means in a bit. I'll go through this whole process with you in DaVinci Resolve. And turn on a compressor filter. This is for my workflow or for our workflow in Gateway Gears. I want to make sure there's a compressor on the audio, so in case they peak, I'm not going to blast the listener's ears. The audio to be EQ'd, and I'll show you what that means and is, and then add a denoise if necessary. For this video that I'm editing right now, it is necessary, or like filming this one I'm filming right now, there's some sound going on in the background that needs to be taken out. Number three, after you've passed through, you've fixed the audio and set up the audio, then you do a quick color pass before you do any editing. Again, this is making sure that you, like everything looks good before you start cutting it up. Follow this guide if it's video that has come from like a higher-end camera. Follow this video if it came from an iPhone. When it comes to color correcting, it's a lot that goes into it, and I'm not going to cover it here in this video. So you'll need to watch those. Now you're ready for a rough cut. So you've reviewed it, make sure it's good content. You've fixed the audio, you've done the color correction on it. Now you can start cutting it up, okay? This first cut, the rough edit, like the goal of a rough cut is the sound. You're not cutting this to look good. You're cutting it so it sounds good. You're taking out all the ums, you're taking out all the ands and quiet moments. You're making the audio flow, okay? That's what this cut is. And for me, I want to see this cut before you do any more editing on it. So when you're done with the rough cut, I want you to send that to me. When you're working with clients, for us here in Gateway Gears, you send them just the audio, because clients, they don't understand the rough cut. They're going to give you feedback on everything else that needs to be fixed on it, and that's not what you want. You want to just give them the audio and say, does this sound good? And they can listen to it and go, yeah, that's great. And then last is the refine cut. This is where you go in and you add if they're filming on just one video or one camera or two cameras. This is where you zoom in and zoom out. You cut between the two different cameras that have been synced. If you have multiple cameras, making sure that they're also synced in the stage 2 process. Back to stage 5, this is now where you're cutting back and forth between those two cameras, or zooming in and zooming out to make it feel good. This is where you then add the B-roll as well if you want B-roll, or add text and copy and all that other stuff. That's the last thing you do when it comes to editing. All right. We're in now DaVinci Resolve, and I'm going to show you all of these different passes. First stage is always going through it really quickly. I'm not going to do that with you, except for I'll show you what I did find throughout this. One, the logo's up here in the corner. We don't actually want that. That was an accidental thing on my part. And this right here, this gray thing on the side, that happens to be my teleprompter. I didn't align it properly. But luckily, this is going to be turned into a short, so all of that's going to be cut out anyway, so that's fine. But if this was going to be long form, and that basically means this needs to be redone. Next is audio. As you can see here, I bumped up the audio to 20. If you have questions about this, just ask in the comments or whatever. In this section of DaVinci is where you can adjust the audio crazy amounts. And I tend to record my audio fairly low because it prevents the background noise from being overwhelming. It's easier to manage because I can just raise it dramatically with my Zoom H4 or whatever. It's at a 20 now here, which means when we come over to the audio side and we push play,
is the specific journey.
All right, you can see down here at the bottom,
you can have multiple.
We're between 5 and 10. I always like it a little higher than that, but the low end of this is at a 10,
and each of those
and the high end is at a
campaign,
-5. That's where we want it. Okay.
At the same time,
let's do a compressor. Compressors are in this area right here, this dynamics. You click that and just push compressor, and it just turns on the compressor. And this basically means that if I get too loud, it's going to lower my volume. I'm never going to hurt someone's ears. That's what the compressor does. Now we're going to EQ. This is how I like my EQ for my voice, okay? It depends on the mic I'm using, but 9 out of 10, this is how I like my voice when you're EQing for me. Just a bump up here in the 8K. See down here where there's numbers. A little bit of a bump in the between the 1K and the 2K. Drop out the 500, and just like an itty bitty bump at the 125 mark, and then knock out the rest of the bass. That's how I like my audio. Okay. If you want to learn more about EQing, Google it. This video is just an overview of everything. Raising the volume between 5 and 10. Turn on the compressor filter. Yes. EQing the voice. Yes. Add a denoise if needed. Okay.
So I'm editing through this video and I realized I had my camera over the top of what I was showing you. So we're going to show you again. So you go into plus, you go into restoration, fairy light effects, noise reduction. This is what it looks like. So you have all these different options in here where you have the hiss, where it just takes out the high end, or if you have a rumble in the back end, this is a combination of both hiss and that's the one I'm using right now. Or you can do like a completely reset and do your own. And that's normally what I suggest, is doing your own. You look for a quiet spot in the clip. Yeah, right there it's good. We're gonna go into listen to noise only, learn, play. And right there, that's it. You don't want a lot when it comes to trying to get rid of your noise. Like the more you try to get rid of the noise, the more your voice, if it's a voice, it's gonna sound tinny, it's gonna sound awful. Remember when you're done to turn this off, listen to noise only, because what that does is it only listens to the noise, so if you kept it on and you push play, you can't hear me. Turn it off quickly. I'm not gonna do that with you, except for I'll show you. So there we go. Make sure that's off, or you might have some trouble.
We just finished audio. Let's go into coloring. When you have the time, I encourage you to dive into the process of coloring. I mean, it is complex, but it is well worth your time as an editor to know how it's done. In this video, we're keeping it simple. I encourage you to watch this video and watch this video on coloring. So this video is for anything that is a higher end camera. This video down here, it's for iPhones, basically. Follow it for iPhones. We're gonna go into DaVinci Resolve here. For coloring, I have this here set up. Inside this video, he talks about a group of nodes that he puts together. I have that group of nodes here, right here. You can see it there. This right here, you click on that and you download it. And then you can import that. I'll show you how to do that now. From here, you go into color, over to the top corner where you have the gallery. I think that's what that is. Yes, this is the gallery. Right click and go import. And then just import the file you've downloaded. In this tutorial, we're not worried about those different node structures because I'm showing you how to edit a short video. So a video for YouTube or Instagram that is a short, okay? I have this structure here. The first one, let me show you how to recreate this. So new node, color, we go into effects, we want color space transform. We want to drop that into there. And this guy right here is input color space is P3 DCI. That is the color gambit that iPhones use, or at least my generation, iPhone 16 uses for capturing color. So the sensor, that's the algorithm it uses, the best way to describe it. I want it to come out in DaVinci Wide Gamut because it gives me more information to work, more color to work with, okay? It does its best to give me more color, okay? So I'm turning this off. This is what it looks like when you do that, okay? And then on the end, so I have these three nodes here. We have the balance and exposure, contrast, and saturation, okay? The best practice is every node is a different thing you change to I encourage, again, watch more videos. We're gonna create another node here on the end. We're gonna go back into the After Effects. We're gonna color space transform, drop that in there too. And we're gonna do basically this. We're gonna have it be, the input is DaVinci Wide Gamut and DaVinci Intermediate, and the output is Rec 709, and you leave the other one blank. The reason why we do this is because majority of all screens run on Rec 709, and I encourage you to Google and research what that means. What is Rec 709? Okay, I had to myself, but basically that allows you to the color space. The reason why you do this is it allows you to be more precise in your coloring in all of this in here. It looks pretty great the way it is right now. I don't feel the need to really do anything, especially since it's short. If this was a long form video, we would adjust the background. And let me do that real quick. For my videos, I'd like the background to be eliminated. And this is what I did to eliminate the background. So we're gonna open in this. I have this selected here. And I basically just grabbed all of this in the background. So tried to grab all of the background and I adjusted these things right here accordingly to basically give me the background and exclude me from it, right? Which is pretty simple. My background's black, you know? All right, now that we've done that, we go into here and we go add new node, add outside node. And when you do that, it creates this one right here for you. And when you have this, you basically just, you also need to create a add alpha output. So when you click that, it gives you this little blue thing here. And you just drag and drag from this blue dot to this blue dot, and it completely eliminates or takes out the background. So now it looks like this versus before, delete link, it looks like this, right? So, and to give you a better perspective, we have it in big screen here. That's how I want it. Thanks. All right, now we're ready to cut it up, okay? So we go back into editing and basically just cut it up, like take out all my ums, take out all of the things, crisp it down to the bare minimum of what makes sense, like cut out as much as you can. And if you can, speed me up. So we did coloring, we did the rough cut, and then you can add the B-roll and the text and everything else that you do on top of that to make it pristine and awesome. Make sure you send me the rough cut first for me to approve, move on from there. Thanks. Cheers.